Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. Hang on here a second. We'll get the screen share going on. I trust you had an enjoyable weekend. I know I did. They always seem to be too short, though, don't they? All right. Just looking here at the NASDAQ. I was reviewing what the market was doing through the overnight, and relative to where we left off on Friday, and you can see we really haven't moved all that far. A little bit of a downturn this morning. Those of you who like to do your first in-sync eagle signal, well, it looks like it happened right there, right off of the opening bell. And that's certainly getting down to its profit objective already. It's high probability profit target. So a nice way to start the day. In fact, if you were trading with a quota, that could probably be your day right there. You can get ready to do something else. Okay. So, well, let's see here what they got going on. It's still early, of course. The sellers making their move, and now we'll see what's going on with the buyers. Hey, nicely done, Floyd. Floyd says 570 on 2 contracts, done for the day. Well done. Oh, it's nice when you can just get in early and do your business. Okay, a quick little pullback. We didn't actually get a number 2 signal here on the Raptor, but that's what it was. The reason we didn't get the number 2 is probably because this retest, not only did it go lower, but it's also a little bit spread out. But you can see we're taking a little bit of a bounce here off of the primary support zone. That's that blue line, and took a little bit of a move back now to the hard edge. Funny, the Falcon didn't produce a trend change signal. I would have expected one. The Hawk, however, did give us a first micro-macro cross signal. Usually one of the tools will pick up the signal. It's hard to get shut out on all the birds. Well, getting some kudos here for you, Floyd. Some congratulations and good jobs. Okay, we'll just leave them alone here for the moment. While we're kind of waiting for opening range to expire, there was a little bit of confusion regarding some of the system tools. So let me just take a moment here and explain what's going on here. In particular, in regards to these dots and the signal prompts. First, let me deal with the signal prompts. These signal prompts tell you when one of the high probability signals on the Raptor has produced. So you may not be able to see it very well. I realize that sometimes the screen sharing software isn't that good. But this is the number 1 signal. And here is another number 1. They always get the background highlight. You can maybe make out the ones that almost formed. You can see the background highlight is a little bit fainter, but the ones where the signal actually engages, the background highlight's a little bit darker. And likewise here we're getting some number 3 signals and some number 2 signals. So all this is telling us is that one of the 3 high probability signals for the Raptor is being triggered. Now, once again, just a quick review of what those signals are. The number 1 signal is the cloud crossover signal. So the cloud's crossing. So here we're going from a bullish cloud to a bearish cloud. You can see the clouds are fully crossed. And then there's a little bit of a pullback, and then we produce the number 1 signal. The number 3 signal is a continuation signal. The number 3 signal is a hard edge bounce. So the market goes back to the hard edge. It bounces and it produces a signal. The number 2 signal is a counter trend signal, and it produces after, well, first off, you have to have a trend, right? And then there has to be a retest of the extreme. In this case, the extreme price is the low. And then we produce a counter trend signal. That's the number 2. When the programming conditions are met, you're going to produce this signal prompt, and that tells you that it's time to make a decision. Now, just because the programming conditions are met, you still need to consider the market context. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking at your chart and it looks like this, and you're producing a number 3 signal, well, it may be a little bit more difficult to say, yeah, the market actually has a trend here, so I'll continue the trend. Or the counter trend signal, you know, it's not so easy to decipher a trend when you're looking at your chart and it looks like this. In fact, it's more inclined, or I would be more inclined to say that the market is moving sideways. So you always want to temper those signals with the market context. Also, there was a little bit confusion with the trade manager trailing stops. These little blue dots here that you see, these are part of the trade manager stop strategies. So depending on which strategy I select, and you can see we have loads of different strategies here, the stop strategies will change. So let's say I wanted to take this number 3 signal. Let me change here now to a different stop strategy. No, hold on. Let's find one that's okay. So you see the stops are up here. If I just hit my sell button, look at where my stops are placed. My stops are placed right at the stop strategy. So if I change my stop strategy now, let's say I go to a swing high-low strategy. Okay. Because my initial stops were lower, the trade manager isn't going to allow me to place my stops up there. But My stop strategy will determine how my stops are managed. So let's say I go to the ATR strategy. Okay, you see how the stops rolled. I know it was really quick. I should have got rid of the break even. But that's what those little blue dots are anyways. It's part of my stop strategy. I tend to disable it when I'm just looking at my charts. You know, some people don't mind to have the stops up there. I just turn them off when I don't need them. That's all that is. All right, so that's part of your trade manager stop strategies. I hope that clears up any confusion with that. All right, now we're still kind of waiting on them here. We do seem to have a bit of a downward bent today. So the market opening up here, coming down, a little bit of a sideways range, breaking down again, a little bit of a sideways range, breaking down again. Oh, we're actually getting a late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. Oh darn, a little bit too late on that. The late filter entry signal occurs when your filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Your trend line, however, never changes color. This one back here is especially nice because how flat the trend line is. When you get a nice flat trend line like that, it tends to have decent probability to it. But it looks like that one did get down to its high probability profit objective. Now we're getting a little bit of a sideways range again. Oh, no, maybe spoke too soon. The one thing I do like about day trading is that you can see the market momentum when it seems to be fading or building. All right, so here now we go with the number 2 signal. The market momentum, you see we're starting to go sideways again, getting a big second push on this one, but it is counter trend, so I suppose that's prudent. Had I taken it here on the hash mark, looks like I could already be at my profit objective. Our band a little bit broad, so our band certainly in that overbought territory. And did they slip me again? You stinkers. They did too. Look at that. They slipped me. Oop, I tried to get my extra tick back. Okay, put my break even back in there. Counter trend trade, always difficult. If you're going to try a counter trend trade, I certainly recommend only taking a single contract, going all in, all out. There we go, hit the break even. Oh, don't flinch yet. Get up there. Oh, you stinkers. I guess I should have left my profit target where it was. All right, I'm going to change my order here to a stop limit. The stop limit is going to limit the slippage I'll accept on the trade. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark crushing it this morning. See, now, when you build yourself up to a position where you can trade multiple contracts, that's really where the juice is. It's not in finding more trades. Floyd found, a trade, took 2 contracts, made 570. His day is done. Mark's got himself in a position now where he can trade 5 contracts. So he took 2 late filter entries, and he's up just over 1,600 on the day. It's the power of multiples. I can't stress that enough. If you can trade for $100 a day, you can make as much money as you want. And I know that Mark, because we had a nice little conversation the other week, he started with a really small account, but just kept working at it, just kept taking his profit. And, here he is just 5 years later. He's got the consistency. He doesn't get greedy. He trades with multiples. And that's the secret sauce right there. The answer to successful trading is not finding more opportunities. That's what everybody thinks. Everybody comes to trading with a production line mentality. Well, if I can only find 20 trades, yeah, I can show you 20 trades, no problem. I can show you 20 decent trades, but no guarantee that 20 trades will work out. Maybe 10 out of the 20. So do yourself a favor, skew the odds in your favor. Look for 2 or 3 opportunities in the day. That's going to make you a whole lot choosier. And when you find those opportunities, go ahead and capitalize on them to the best of your ability, the most your account will allow. All right, here we're getting a little bit of a first micro macro cross and a macro pullback in the hawk. I wonder if the sellers are going to try to give it another push here. The danger is that this swing right here may actually be the test of the extreme. Okay, we're back into yellow bars, so I can ignore it for the time being. All right, and it looks like they are maybe turning it over. Maybe the sellers have had their thing. Oh, I love this comment. Mark says, it's more like, which 2 trades will I be selective and take, not how much can I take on 2 trades? It's a total attitude shift where you're just looking for, what is the best opportunity? And slowly, as you work with your tools, as you stay with your market, you're going to start to recognize things. I'm a firm believer in keeping a written journal. We have the Trader View journal, which helps automate the process. But even if you use the Trader View journal, I strongly recommend a written journal. Just really quickly here, folks, we're getting a first a late filter entry signal here to buy, and a nice little second push on that. So we'll throw that in there, and we're also getting going to get a cloud crossover signal here on the Raptor. So we're getting the same thing going on twice, same signals. But when you're keeping a handwritten journal, there's something about physically writing something down on a piece of paper imprints on your mind better. I know in this day and age of computers and tablets and everything, it's electronic calendars on your phone and whatnot. It's just so much more convenient to put it into an electronic device, but it does not, the keyboard does not imprint on your brain the way taking a pen or a pencil and actually writing something down does. Here, I'm going to roll my stop to the same place. There we go. And you should always have two reasons for taking a trade. If you can figure out two reasons for taking a trade, there's a really good chance the trade will probably work out for you. Again, no guarantees, but if you're just kind of shooting from the hip, that really takes a lot away from being able to trade as a business. And that's what this is. This is a business. And I think you'll do better to treat it as a business. Yeah, like Mark says, that's in my business plan. Not sure who said it, but it's always stuck with me. And once again, to quote Mark here, it's which two trades will I be selective and take, not how much can I take on two trades. Again, I can't emphasize that too much. And the simple fact of keeping a handwritten journal, I guarantee you that within 2 weeks, you will start to see patterns developing in your trading, both good and bad. You'll see things that you're doing right. You'll see things that you're doing wrong. You'll be able to avoid the things that you do wrong and do more of the things you do right. And with the trading journal, it's not so much about the trade parameters, although those are important, but rather recording the reasons why you took the trade. If the trade did not work out, what did you learn from the trade? I usually highlight that with a big star or exclamation points. Honestly, I very rarely review my journal. I know some people do, I don't. But like I said, just the act of writing it down physically, it does imprint on your mind. So if you're not keeping a trading journal, do yourself a favor, keep a trading journal. All right, so I'll put my soapbox away now after my little rant here. The trade's struggling a bit. Looks like I got tagged there, but they are taking their time holding up here around the 69.18, 69.20 zone. Antonio is asking, Eric, any thoughts on the Euro US dollar pair or the British pound US pair? If you're asking which market I like better, I would probably go with the Euro US dollar pair. The pound, I've known traders who traded the pound, and it seems like it's bipolar. You know, it's got good days, it's got bad days. The euro seems to be maybe a little bit more consistent, maybe a little bit more civilized. I think that would be my first choice. Of course, it's whatever market you're most comfortable with. You know, I tell people all the time, they're always asking me about what markets do I follow? And it's almost like the NASDAQ is an overlooked market. It's not sexy enough, I guess, or maybe most people don't even consider it. Personally, I like the NASDAQ. It's my go-to. That's not to say the E-mini isn't worth trading, but for my personality, I like the NASDAQ. So, you know, that's always the deciding factor is what market are you comfortable with? But I would personally probably lean more toward the euro. All right, I got myself stuck here in a nice little sideways congestion, and they keep pushing on the top end. I got to get above 69.20. In fact, I'll even bring my break even down there. So the next tap at 69.20, hopefully I can get a break even trigger. Not liking this back and forth stuff, not at all. Great question. Oh, Antonio's asking about a possible trade. Okay, hold on a second, Antonio. Let me build a chart, and I will look at that for you. In the meantime, Floyd's asking, have you looked at any of the crypto charts? Do they chart similar to futures, or is it too early to trade them? Good question, Floyd. Last time I looked at the cryptos, I couldn't get them in my data feed just yet, and I didn't really bother pursuing it too much. But let's see if they have anything here yet. No, I don't think so. I don't think I have. No, they still haven't put any of the cryptocurrencies into my assortment. So no, I haven't really been following them all that closely. All right, let me build here a Euro US dollar chart. It's a good question though, Floyd. Yeah, Mark says the NASDAQ is all I do. You really don't need to chase a lot of markets around. I've never really understood people who follow, 6 or 8 different markets. I guess, well, it looks like I got stopped out here. I guess given the downtrend this morning, or out of the gate, we probably would be better, or I would be better off watching for a move lower. Okay, here's the Euro US dollar pair. This is the same as the 6E for those of you who want to follow it on the futures market. And I've set a 20 tick brick just to eliminate some of the background noise. And I've adjusted my Raptor chart accordingly. So I've done a slow cloud, which is 1.5 times my brick size. My fast cloud is the same as my brick size, and then my hawk bar is 3/4, 0.75 of my brick size. It looks like we got a really nice cloud crossover signal here, a number 1 signal, and that one moving along very nicely. Let me go back here to the session open. See, when I look at my chart and it gets sideways like this, even though there's good moves to be had, I don't expect a whole lot of follow through just because the market is so sideways. My current philosophy is to, if you think the market's in a sideways range, let it break out and look for the retest, and then look for the opportunity to get in. Look for evidence that the trend is going to continue after the breakout. So you may have had to sit on your hands for a couple of hours, although it looks like each of these signals, the number 2 signal, not going very far, but the other signals were all continuation signals. One thing about this number 2 signal when it printed, remember how I mentioned the context? The number 2 signal, the counter trend signal, well, first you have to have a trend to go counter to. And if you're looking on this chart, there really isn't much of a trend, is there? It's more or less sideways. So that should have been your first clue that maybe this number 2 signal isn't going to have a lot of follow through. If, however, we went and got a 232 signal, so here's the 2, here's now the number 3 signal, the continuation signal. If we came back and at this point printed another number 2 signal right here, that may have been worth trying, and I may have expected the market to try to get up here back to the top end of the trading range. At the very least, it should have had enough in there to get to my profit objective. So if you're stuck going sideways and you get a signal repeating like a 232, you can have a little more confidence in it, but really your best plan, like I said, is if you think you're stuck sideways, let the market break out, let it retest, let it prove to you that it can stay out, and then that would be your signal to take. Even though it didn't print as a high probability signal, it's one of what we call a discretionary signal. You can see that it still had some follow through to it. But where we're at right now, my goodness, look at that move. That is a fantastic move on part of the euro. Very, very strong. And that's just prior to the North American Open. The European session would be winding down now, so I would be a little bit suspicious of follow-up signals. I wouldn't get too excitable about those. All right, hold on a second. I'm just going to save that so I have it for the next time. There we go. All right, well, we're still kind of tracking sideways for the most part here. A lot of back and forth. I'll just kind of let them sort things out here. The trend is down. So, hold on a second here. The trend is down this morning. So when in doubt, you're probably going to be better served off your short signals. Here, a number one signal now to the short side. This on the Raptor. Notice the proximity to the lows. This kind of gives us that test of the extreme feeling. I don't have a whole lot of room here to manage my trade as we get back down toward this contract low. Sure, Frank's asking, can I see your Euro settings again? Absolutely, Frank. Hold on a second here. Where did I put you? Oh, that's the daily. Hold on, I got too many charts going on here. Ah, there you are. Okay. So you can experiment with your settings. You can even go with the default settings. But sometimes, especially if you're trading the euro during the native hours, during the native session, the bars may be unfolding too quickly, in which case you may want to go with a larger tick size. In this case, I've settled on a 20 tick brick. So you're going to go here to your data series and you're going to select 20 ticks. And then you're going to go to your indicators. You're going to select your Raptor 2.0. And then about halfway down here, you're going to have your cloud setup. Now, just make a note of this. This is the rough relationship between the clouds and the brick size, and this relationship holds true across the board. It's a starting point. You can adjust the clouds to make them more or less responsive to the market you're trading, but this is kind of your go-to. Your first cloud, the slower cloud, will be 1.5 times your brick size. Your fast cloud will be the same as your brick size. And your hawk bars will be 75%, 3/4. So you go 20 times 0.75, and that will be your brick size for your hawk bars. Other than that, I've left everything at the defaults. Oh, it looks like I do. Here I have my hawk or pardon me, my soft edge signal set at 1.25. This is the number 2 signal. I think by default it's 1.01. The higher this value, the more signals you will introduce. The second value, the lower that value, the more signals you will introduce. So there's a little bit of an inverse relationship there. All right, so there's the settings for the euro, and it seems like, well, this number 3 signal did not have any follow through to it, or not very much. But to be fair to the number 3 signal, it does look as though, you know, you probably would have started your trade something like this, and then when it started to reverse again, you did at least have one opportunity to bring your stops in. This right here, hold on, let me clean this up. This right here is a number 2 signal. It did not print as a number 2 signal because of the settings the way they are. This low is too far removed. This swing low is too far removed from this one. There's too many bars in between. But it is still a number 2 signal. So if you see the number 3 signal, you see it fail, you should anticipate the counter trend signal. And then of course the cloud crossover signal. The number 1 signals tend to be very strong signals. They tend to be signals that, if the conditions are right, like here we had a very bearish cloud, changed over, became bullish, you had the pullback. These tend to be signals that you can take with a great deal of confidence. I like the number 1 signal, and even the early number 1 signal. Oh, well, here was the number 1 signal back here. Our trade, and it looks like the market fell off nicely. Even gave a little bit extra on that, although I'm not sure I would have been able to ride out that swing. But a good trade all the same. Frank's asking, would you use the same for the 6J? Well, you'd have to see, right? You'd have to, it's a starting point. I always start with the defaults. And if I look at my timestamps, and if I have too much data coming in too quickly, then I know I need to increase my brick size. Conversely, if I look at my chart and I got daybreak lines, like this, I know I don't have enough data coming in, and therefore I need to reduce my settings. I need to reduce my brick size so I get more data. I haven't looked at the yen at all, so it's hard for me to say. Hold on a second here. I will endeavor to pull up the yen. Mark says if you pull back from the eagle, you'll really get a perspective of how the market is stepping down. We'll do that here in a second. Looks like we're hitting a bit of a consolidation period again. Look at all the yellow bars here in the hawk. The falcon's a real mess, as is the raptor. The eagle's still looking pretty good though. Okay, so here's the yen now with the 20 tick settings. And the timestamps look reasonable. I'd have to wait an hour through here for a signal to actually print, but again, it depends how aggressive I want to be on the trade. Looks like the signals are having decent follow through though, so I can just blindly take the signals. That's one thing I look at as well. What happens if I just took the signals and did nothing else? It looks like they're working out not too badly. Let's go back here into Friday's session, or I guess we have to go back for Thursday and just see how the yen responded in their native time zone. Yeah, actually right now it's looking like the 20 tick setting might be my go-to. So the yen market opening around 1700 my time, the Japanese market. Got a number one signal there, did not get any follow through. Got a number two signal, nice follow through. Got an early number one signal there, nice follow through. Followed with another number one signal, again, good follow through. Number two signal, yeah, I think I might go with those settings, Frank. For the yen, they're looking like they're working not too badly. Like I say, you can almost blindly just take the signal prompt. There's a number three signal that, oh, it struggled, but it got up there, followed by a couple more number three signals. But that's what I do when I check out the chart. How are the signals behaving? Am I getting decent follow through? I don't expect every single signal to work out, but are enough of them working out that I can trade the system with confidence? That's really what I'm looking for. The ability to make a decision. That's paramount to me. Okay, it looks like we may have hit a little bit of a sideways skid. Oh, there we go. Another, pardon me, a quick little move lower. Boy, you'd almost have to be hovering with your hand over the sell button here this morning. Yeah, here just a quick little comment from Mark about the hard edge and the band counter. Oop, sorry, I got the little blue wheel swirling there. Hold on a sec. Mark makes a comment that if you're looking here at your hard edge with the NASDAQ anyways, it will vary with the market you're following. But if you look at the distance from the hard edge to the lows, you can get a good idea of what to look for on the band counter to get one of those nice reversal trades using the tool. The high 50s seems to be a sweet spot that the market's going to make a little bit of a pullback. Yeah, shoot Ben an email if there's a little, Mark says there's a little quirk in his band counter on the Eagle. Stephen says, I need to liven up Mondays. Let's talk politics. Oh dear. Yeah. A good way to get into trouble with everyone. That's good. I like it. All right, so let's see here. We've had another little bit of a breakout. I'm thinking we may be due for a reversal only because, you know, we're starting to see more frequent consolidations. We saw a move, several moves lower, big consolidation period, another move lower, little consolidation period, another move lower. See how the length of each move lower is getting less on the follow through side. That's to be expected. The market's not going to run indefinitely. And then here we are with again another little bit of a move, and I don't know yet whether it's going sideways or if it's pulling back, but it does tend to indicate maybe a little bit of a pullback. Let's see, are we going? Oh, there we go. We actually got a number 2 signal here on the Raptor, and a little bit of a second push opportunity on that one. The Falcons working a possible trend change. The Hawk not with a trend change just yet because that filter is still out of sync. We don't have that first micro macro cross signal just yet. Here with the Raptor, we've got the number 2, we've got the number 3. We may come back with another number 2, in which case we'll have our 2-3-2 setup, which would make for a more probable buy. All right, so again, the test of the extreme. Here now the second number 2 signal. So we're going to get a 2-3-2 type setup. I'm going to try to make this trade a little bit more aggressive. All right, there we go. Let's see. Oh, no problem getting the first profit target. Nice little snap on the follow through. I'm going to let them get just a little bit higher here before I try to engage my trailing stop. Come on, give me that swing. All right. So now I'm going to engage my trailing stop. And if the market heads higher from here, Trade Manager will automatically trail my stops via my stop strategy. Nope. Yes, stinkers. Well, that's all right. Got profit on one of the trades. Yeah. Mark says, just vote. End of the story. I'm of the firm opinion if you don't go vote, you can't complain. that's that's my motivation. That's why I can complain. We're having a provincial referendum on changing our style of voting, the way the votes are calculated. And actually, this might be a good question here to post to the room. I know those of you in the States don't even need to bother with this because your voting system is the same as it is here in Canada. But for those of you who are outside of North America, I know especially in Europe, there's some countries that use a proportional voting system to tabulate their votes. And that's what the referendum is about, whether we should go to a proportional vote in the province versus the current system, which is usually referred to as first past the post. There's pros and cons for each, of course. And I tend to believe that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, no, Mark, we're not under siege by the Russians. All right, well, we're back to the hard edge now, and this is, again, where we normally anticipate a reaction. The bears have been incredibly strong this morning, but we are an hour into the day as well. So this tends to be, if we're going to see a reversal, this tends to be when a reversal will develop also. We had the early number one signal here on the Raptor. The Geiger counter is full on bullish. We had a trend change signal on the Falcon. Okay, so here again with the number one signal, we've got a trend line touch signal here on the Falcon as well. So a couple of opportunities. Stops pretty much have to go at least back, well, at least back to the hard edge, and ideally a couple swings back. If you can cover below this swing low here, below the low of the morning, so much the better. Even though this number one signal is technically a with trend signal, given the big downtrend that we saw this morning, it could also be interpreted as a counter trend trade. So you do need to be a little bit careful with it. See if we can get some follow through here. The Geiger counter holding strong. Oh, and hooray. Did not waste any time getting up there. That's the way, I like it. Oh, there you go, dating yourself again, Eric. All right, well, if my trading day was not done earlier, certainly either one of those opportunities could have capped off my trading day. Fairly decent setup on both. And now we're just kind of settling in again. All right, here we are back into the hard edge. We'll see what kind of reaction we get from here. But I'm almost leaning on the side of the buyers at this point. I'll try not to get too caught up in my predictive abilities, which tend to be lacking. And yeah, not much in the way of follow through right now. That's okay. And we're slightly more bearish at this point again, looking for the sellers to recover the downtrend. What's interesting, though, is that we've broken a semi-significant swing high at this point, which if we see that kind of thing happen, I tend to favor another move in the direction of the breakout. So I may be a little bit more bullish still on the market and favor another buying opportunity for that reason. Looking at a good test of the extreme at this point. So if you were so inclined, you could just take the next buy signal. Here it looks like on the Falcon we're getting some warning dots, and allow me to demonstrate this, but there's the next buy signal. So I just pop in with a buy in anticipation that the market may try to continue higher off of this breakout that we saw right here, right? So the market broke above that level. There's move number one with the breakout, looking now for move number two. And I don't know how much follow through it will have, but if I'm going just to my profit objective, it really doesn't matter that much. And it looks like they gave me a little break-even tag, which is okay. If it's going to continue higher, we should come back here now with a proper trend change signal. Hey, way to go, Steve. Steven says the Dow just had a beautiful move up and I caught half of it. Nicely done. Good job. We'll see, maybe the NASDAQ will play catch up. So once more, now we've got the retest of the low. Oh, will the trend continue lower? We got a couple follow-up sell signals here. Well, we do have a first micro-macro cross to short on the hawk. See, now we're getting the number one signal again here on the Raptor, and we do have a little bit of a second push opportunity. It is with trend, obviously. The danger, the low of the morning right here. Will the market follow through? Got a trend change slash trend line touch signal here on the Falcon, and a little bit of a sloppy 4-arrow consolidation here on the hawk. They are fading a little. So if they come back here now, they're going to come back with a number two signal. I may take this opportunity just because and throw in an OCO order. So I'll look to buy above there. I'll look to short below here. The market's in a little bit of a sideways twist. I know the next buy signal will be a number two signal because we're retesting the lows. There we go. There's the number two signal. Let me get my stops in play. And let's see whether or not we actually get some follow through here now. So here's the bird's eye view, if you excuse the pun. So big downtrend, big move higher, broke a relatively significant swing point, retesting the lows, and now looking for a move higher as a result. And I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive here with my stops now, maybe move into my parabolics. If we can get above this resistance zone right here, above 68.85 3/4, there's a chance we could get a little giddy up. Just because you can see here the market was held down a few times before. All right, let's get those stops going. Oh, got tagged on the reverse, but that's okay. That's okay. It was a decent little trade. I will take it. Thank you very much. It does seem that after about an hour, or certainly after about 45 minutes into the session, the market does become a little bit more reasonable. Those opening bars can leave you scrambling sometimes. Decent kind of day overall. Decent number of opportunities, decent follow through. Now they're kind of stuck again. And I suspect we may be moving into a little bit of a sideways trading range. Wow, Mark wasn't kidding. You can really see how the market's been stepping down all through the session, starting in the overnight. Again, off of, it seems, that 7,000 zone, so significant. Well, we're kind of jammed up now, kind of between 68.95 and 68.65. Still think we might be due for a little bit of a move higher, but we'll see. The trading range has pardon me, trading range. The trend lines, the clouds, everything is starting to twist up a little bit like a rope on the Raptor. The Hawk, well, we're flip-flopping. We're going from red to green to red. The Falcon also starting to get that roller coaster effect to it. Whee! Mark says, I think they still owe us a test of the 70-30 zone. I think you're right, actually. I would agree with you. It'll be easier to see on a daily chart because 70-30 is a long ways away. Up here somewhere. So we had some bullish bars. This is the daily, by the way. And so we saw a breakout above that little downtrend. So here's the sellers trying to take the market back. What I find interesting is this little rally right here. Strong rally, strong bars, but look at what was going on here with the volume. That's not usually what you want to see. Then we had Friday's session, which was this really, really big doji bar with a lot of volume. So that tells us a lot of contracts went through there. And now we're getting a bit of a bearish tint on the day again. Maybe, maybe the markets come down. We see this all the time. Maybe the market will go sideways from here for a little bit. And then it may choose to go down or go up. Imagine that, eh? I called it. It could go down or it could go up. That's right. You heard it here first. All right, here we go with an early number one signal. I'm surprised that one printed the way it did, but I guess the clouds went out of sync, came back into sync, a little bit of a pullback. There's the number one. I wasn't really anticipating it, so it kind of got past me. But I think it may have gotten to its profit target, maybe. No, not yet. First micro-macro cross here on the Hawk. Trend change on the Falcon as well. So we got a few things lining up. All right, well, we've got a second push opportunity on this number one signal. Or are they going to go too far? Not the ideal trade. You know, you look again, market context, you look at the left side here, we're kind of drifting sideways for at least the last half hour, right? We haven't really emerged from these price zones that were established 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. We're still within that whole trading range. I suppose we could do another OCO order. Why don't we finish the day that way? So I'm going to OCO buy above here. I'm going to short below here. This time I'm going to have my stops ready, or no, I won't. Let's get my stops in play. All right. Oh, I hit the break even. Let's go with that. Where's my next resistance line? Okay, well, the lows, pardon me, the highs of opening range, 6,900, 6,930 primary support. Ah, darn it, not gonna get it. And primary resistance all the way up there at 70.20. We'll see if they come back here with another signal. Kind of flip-flopping a little bit as we get back toward the top end of, like I said, the trading range that started about an hour or so ago. All right, here, just a discretionary signal, getting the follow-up signal to the number 3 signal here. Back now toward that 6,900 area. Oh, don't flinch, not yet. You can do it. The Geiger counter is good and strong. Let's hopefully get a little bit of follow through on that. Really? Are you gonna make me roll my stops back? Doggone it. Again, initially I try to leave my stops 2 swings back. That's the ideal. Come on, give me a couple of bull bars here and then I can really start to bring my stops in. Bring my break even back there to the opening range. Opening range low. Come on, get up there. Nice little buy spike moving through, but not much on the follow through right now. All right, I'm going to take the trade to break even. And this is really the last chance, and hooray! So why did I say that was the last chance on the move? Because, all right, so here was the initial trade. Okay, so the market brings us in. It hesitates a little bit. You see this little swing right here? And then we're followed up with another little swing right here. Oh, wait a minute, where is it? No, sorry, the other way around. Little swing right here, followed by another little swing right here. This is really the last chance for the buyers to get their act together. It's not unusual to see the market try to make two swings against you, but they tend to be small. So here's swing number one, here's swing number two, if the market's going to go in your direction. Just a little something to keep a lookout for when you're watching your trade unfold. And it doesn't help to be a little bit lucky sometimes too. When the market actually responds, that's always nice. All right, gang, I think we're gonna wrap up shop here for the morning. I've got an appointment to get to here in about 15 minutes, so I'll have me need to get ready for that. And yeah, we'll do it all again tomorrow. Oh, all right, everyone. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow then. Bye for now.